Boys, stop groping the girls. Are we ready? You know that I've been sick of chronic, not only chronic, but severe or acute chronic fatigue, an ailment that is mysterious even to doctors. By definition, acute chronic fatigue means that I have no energy whatsoever. If I try to walk, I will stumble. If I try to speak, I will be out of breath. I hope you'll forgive me in the course of this speech if that phenomenon happens. And if I think, I get very, very dizzy. But in any event, I've come here to show my respect for you. First of all, to show my respect for the great De La Salle University. The scholars are here. And to show my respect for all the representatives of the colleges and universities from all over the Philippines. I will request you to stand when I call you. The students from Luzon, all students from colleges in Luzon, will you please stand. And all colleges and universities from the Visayas, all representative students, please stand. Ang mga nakamatamo? Okay, and then all colleges and universities represented by their student panels from Mindanao. You know, I have not been reporting to the Senate, neither to the International Criminal Court. But as I said, I've come here on your call because you ordered me to come. And I want to show my love and my appreciation for all of the leaders of our country of the very near future. The politicians, who I hope will have no pork barrel, and the social engineers and the intellectual leaders of our country in the next few years. First, I will talk about politics, then I will talk about HRM, and then I will insult my opponents. Anong tawag kapag nagtapon ka ng basura sa dagat? Sagot, pollution. Ano naman ang tawag kapag tinapon mo sa dagat ang mga politikong kurakot? Sagot, solution. Kapag nagsinungaling ka sa congressman o sa senador, kakasuhan ka na ng perjury, may jail term ka pa. Perjury is telling a lie under oath. Pero kapag ang congressman o senador nagsinungaling sa iyo, ginagawa lang nila ang trabaho nila, magkakaroon pa sila ng bagong term. How to tell if a politician is telling the truth? Whenever he's crossing his arms, like this, he might be telling the truth. Whenever he's stroking his chin, like this, he might be telling the truth. Whenever it looks at you straight in the eyes, he might be telling the truth. But when he opens his mouth, he is lying. There was a study on the connection between government employees and the sport they play. Ang paboritong sport daw ng mga entry-level na government employees ay basketball. Entry-level, meaning to say they start at the bottom. Kapag lower management position na, paborito daw nila ay bowling. Kapag upper management naman, paborito daw nila ay tennis. Ang paborito daw na sport ng mga high-level government officials is golf. The study then made this conclusion. Kapag tumataas ang posisyon mo sa gobyerno, lumiliit ang balls mo. May tatlong doktor doktor, pinag-usapan mo anong pasyente ang pinakamadaling operahan. Sabi ng una, electricians, everything inside them is color-coded. Sabi ng pangalawang doktor, librarians, everything inside them is in alphabetical order. Sabi ng pangatlo, politiko ang pinakamadali. They have no brains, they have no guts, they have no hearts, and they have no balls. Top 3 na pinakasinungaling na trabaho sa Pilipinas. I will start with number 3 and then 2 and 1. Number 3, beautician. Sasabihin nilang maganda ang customer kahit hindi naman talaga. Number 2, doktor ng jeep. Sasabihin niya na dalawa pa ang kasya, kahit tulad na. And last, and the most prolific of all these liars, number 1, political. That's the end of the story. Now, let me talk for a while on hotel and restaurant management and the latest developments. Developments in HRM. The latest feature in hotel and restaurant management is the Sustainable Green Hotel. The Sustainable Green Hotel. A green hotel is an environmentally responsible lodging that follows the practices in green living. The basic characteristics of a green hotel are as follows. Housekeeping uses non-toxic chemical agents and laundry detergents. 100% organic cotton sheets, towels, and mattresses. Non-smoking environment. Renewable energy sources like solar or wind energy. Bulk organic soap and amenities instead of individual packages to reduce waste. Guest room and hotel lobby, recycling bins. Towel and sheet reuse. Meaning to say, you can tell housekeeping that they don't need to change it every day so that they will use less water. Energy efficient lighting. On-site transportation with green vehicles. Reserve organic and local grown food. Non-disposable dishes. Offers a fresh air exchange system. Grey water recycling, which is the reuse of kitchen, bath, and laundry water for garden and landscaping. Newspaper recycling program. All these features of a green hotel are intended to reduce the environmental impact of hotels in 3 key areas: water, energy, and waste. Hotels use intense facilities in energy, such as bars, restaurants, pools, and more spacious rooms, thus causing a hotel to emit an average of 20.6 kilograms of carbon dioxide per night. Further, an average hotel produces in excess of 1 kilo of waste per guest per day. Finally, water is often wasted when water is integral to the amenities, usually expected by tourists, such as swimming pools, landscape gardens, and golf courses. The water needed to supply 100 luxury hotel guests for less than 2 months would typically supply 100 rural farmers for 3 years. Because of their environmental impact, the Initiative for Green Hotels has led to the Initiative for Sustainability. Since the 1990s, the hotel industry has pursued green practices such as pollution prevention, such as waste discharge into waterways, recycling, use of compact fluorescent lights, reuse of linens, low-flow shower systems, use of local products, installation of green roofs, installation of solar heaters or other renewable energy sources. However, despite these measures, new environmental risks have arisen, including water and land contamination, air and noise pollution, supply chain environmental practices, waste management. This is why the greening of the hotel industry has now led to so-called green certifications, including the following: leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, LEED, Green Globe, Green Key, Energy Star, Green Seal, Sustainable Tourism Eco-Certification Program, or STEP. In the Philippines, the trend toward green operations has begun. In the ASEAN Green Hotel Recognition Award ceremony held in Indonesia last January 2012, 2 Philippine hotels received awards. And it's only a matter of time before our government, like governments around the world, will mandate sustainable development and operations. Sustainable tourism has given rise this year to the so-called eco-boutique hotels. They are zero-carbon hotels. In notable cases, the hotel produces energy itself and produces more energy than it needs. Sometimes the hotel buys the surrounding forest, which absorbs all the hotel emissions. It is said that zero-carbon hotels have become a big trend in the past 10 years. Now there are even more plus-carbon hotels, not only zero-carbon but plus-carbon hotels, which sell their surplus to others. These modern developments have been sponsored by skyrocketing costs in energy. In many countries, the biggest expense is staff, and the second biggest expense is energy. From this overview of latest trends in the tourism industry, we can understand the exaggerated complaint by some travel authors that tourism is destroying the world. Hence, we will engage in best practices to achieve the goal of sustainable green hotels. The biggest challenge for 21st century travelers and HRM students is to emphasize avoidance of so-called drive-by tourism, meaning the kind of tourism that encourages tourists to visit a destination for only a few hours or a few days with little appreciation for the country or culture of its people. We must raise public consciousness that travel is a privilege. Bargain travel has hidden expenses and dangers. By contrast, we should support and expand the concept of responsible tourism in various forms such as volunteer tourism, adventure tourism, slow tourism, where people take their time, agro-tourism, where visitors live and work in a farm, eco-tourism, and geo-tourism. Sustainable green tourism should drive tourists to respect the places they visit and the people that they meet. That is the part of my speech on HRM. Now to the part of my speech on developments in the pork barrel scandal. I have taken the position that pork barrel should be abolished for all members of Congress. Lahat na, ihindot. It should not be left to the individual senator or representative to waive his pork barrel, because the money will simply go either to his colleagues, yung kapwa niyang senador, kapartihan nila yan eh. Pag sinabi mo ayaw ko yung akin, hatiin nila. Or to other corrupt bureaucrats. Malay mo, hindi na pupunta yan, hindi nakawin din yan. Hence, it is necessary not only to waive the pork barrel system, but the pork barrel individually, but also to abolish the entire pork barrel system. Kasi, ang pork barrel, wala mong kinalaman sa pagpairal ng mga panukalang batas, di ba? Tumakbo kami para pag-aralan namin ng mga panukalang batas. Eh kung gusto nila mamigay pala sila ng mga gamot daw, dahil pag-uwi daw sila sa constituencies nila, hiningan sila ng gamot, ay di mag-pharmacist siya. O kaya mag-caterer siya. Dahil kumakain ng siya, ang relasyon dun sa Pasig, ano? Pagkatapos pa, mamaya ang NGO. The Supreme Court in the 1994 case of Philcamsa versus Enriquez upheld the constitutionality of the pork barrel, at that time called the Countrywide Development Fund. Someone went to question it long ago. The Supreme Court said it's constitutional. As a student of constitutional law, I believe that it's time for the Supreme Court to revisit this problem. That's what lawyers say when they mean, let us change our mind, revisit the problem. We have had too many years of rapacious experience with pork barrel abuses to continue to ignore that corruption is embedded in the system. Kasama yan. Hindi mo talaga minto na yan, nandyan na yan. Tumatakbo silang senador, congressman, para lang sa pork barrel. Ba't akala nyo handa sila magsilbi? Hindi. Gusto nila, bawiin nilang ginastos nila sa halalan. Kasi mahal mamimili ka ng boto, hindi ka naman gusto ng tao. Bilhin mo ang boto nila, mangutang ka pa. Pagkatapos pag naupo ka na, nakaw ka ng nakaw, para mabawi mo ang pinagkapital mo at may tubo ka pa. Galing yan sa pork barrel. That is how our system works. That is why I'm now the object of malicious attacks, always anonymous or in the name of anonymous people, because I'm so squarely against pork barrel. Wala tayong mapanood dyan. Lalo na itong ghost NGO na ito. Ang pork barrel, halimbawa, no, may 200 million every year ang senador. At least, most senators will get at least 10%. Di 20 million yun every year. Pero hindi lang yun. Merong 30, merong 50%. Pero may natatanggap naman ang publiko. Halimbawa mo, may inutusan siya gagawa ng daan. Unang bagyo pa lang, puno na ng, how do you say in Tagalog, potholes. Dahil, tinitipid nila, pero may natanggap tayo, di ba? Sa fake NGO, wala talagang natatanggap. Hinahati talaga. Hindi lang 10%, 20 or 50%. Hati talaga. Itong senador at itong NGO na binigyan niya, dalawa lang sila, hatian nila. That is how pork barrel system works. Kaya ngayon, ang mga kalaban ko, mas maraming pera sa akin. Kasi sila nagnanakaw at ako hindi. Susukulan nila kaya ng media. Susukulan nila media, sanay na ako dyan, siraan na yan. Itatanong ko nga sa mga kalaban ko, lalo na yung matanda na yon. He's already 100 years old. At he pretends he's 90 years old. Bakit? Sila ba'y binigyan ng Magsaysay Award for Government Service? It is implanted in my brain for bold and moral courage in cleaning up a corrupt governmental agency. O sila meron ganon? Ba't ako ngayon ang corrupt daw, according to them? Pagkatapos, meron ba silang karangalan binigay sa ating bansa? Pero mo sa buong bansa na ito with about 98 states, with about 7 billion people, may elect ang isang Pilipino na judge of the International Criminal Court, the first time in the history of that court. Pagkatapos, isiraan niya ako, ay tumigil nga kayo mga matanda kayo. I'll just breathe on them. They'll fall to the floor. Ganun ganyan ang katawan nila. Pero maisip nila, aktibo. Yet, if you look at their biodatas, hindi naman pala nag-graduate ng cum laude or magna cum laude. Grabe naman itong mga politiko na ito. Pag nakakita ka ng politiko, huwag mo nang kausapin. Sundakin mo. Some of the defenders of pork barrel claim that if administered properly, it will result in so-called distributive justice, meaning that money will go to the poor who most urgently need it. Yan ang kaso nila eh. Kasi kung namimigay tayo ng pera sa budget, kung minsan hindi natin matuklasan na kailangan pala ng isang munisipyo ang daan, dahil ang padaan ng mga maliliit na bata papunta ng eskwela. Yung mga klaseng maliliit na gastos na yan. Kaya dapat may pork barrel kami. But that was the dream. As it turned out, the dream has been exploded by the money culture of corrupt politicians. Yung problema eh, pinaka-Diyos natin ang pera. I want to tell them, so, like me. I hope the Supreme Court will take heed of the words of wisdom from Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., who said in one of his famous aphorisms, itong si Justice Wendell Holmes na ito, idolo ito ng legal at judlo. He said, "The life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience." Sa karanasan natin, ano bang napatunay tungkol sa pork barrel? Pag-uwi tayo sa ating mga distrito, ano bang narinig natin sa ating mga kapitbahay? Wala silang natatanggap. Kaya ganito yon. Nakumpisa ito sa ating sistemang panghalal. Meron tayong taxpayers, no? Naghanap buhay sila, nagbabayad sila ng buwis. Meron tayong hindi nagbabayad ng buwis dahil napakahirap nila. Kaya itong mga hindi nagbabayad, mas marami lang sa taxpayers. Itong mga hindi taxpayers, konti lang, bilhin mo. Maski anong konting pera bigay mo, bububuto ka nila kaagad. Kaya ang nangyayari, itong mga people who not pay taxes will determine ngayon who will be the leaders of the entire country because outvoted nila ang mga taxpayers. That system has to be changed. Halimbawa, kung dito rin lang sa Pilipinas, kayo na lang kaya bumoto dahil mga student leaders, kaya idealistic pa kayo. Bakit pa tayo makahanap ng ibang botante na binibenta ang mga boto nila? O kaya nakumpyutan sila ng tumatakbo? O kaya kursunada niya sa telebisyon? Anong klase yun? We have to re-examine the premises of our democracy. Today, people throughout the archipelago, cutting across the various economic classes, are rising in colossal outrage against the pork barrel sinkhole, which has swallowed up 10 billion, as in baboy talaga, 10 billion of taxpayers' money. It now appears that at least 3 senators, not to speak of over 20 representatives, have been giving the pork barrel funds, not to the government departments. That's what the law says. Kung pork barrel ka, ibigay mo sa departamento ng gobyerno. So you give it to, let's say, Department of Public Works, Department of Social Welfare, at bahala na sila ngayon kung anong paraan ang gagawin nila doon sa pera mo. Wala kang pakialam. In theory, ganun yung pork barrel dapat. You give it to a government agency or to a local government unit, at sila ngayon ang mananakot kung paano nagastos yung pera binigay mo. They do not give their funds to government departments as directed by law, but to non-government organizations that do not exist. Biro mo, itong poster girl of NGOs, nakakulong ngayon. Biro mo, dinero lang niya, pinapapirma niya na presidente ng fake NGO niya, hardinera, kusinera, katulong, naging presidente silang mga NGO. Paano nangyari yan na hindi kasabwat ang mga senador at ang mga congressman? My humble opinion on the controversy, whether pork barrel can be given to NGOs, is that the budget law allows public funds to be transferred to NGOs. Pero ganung provision. However, the procedure provided by law has been deliberately ignored, and therefore the transfer of public funds to NGOs has been illegal for the following reasons. First, the transfer of pork barrel funds to NGOs do not appear to follow the rules defined under RA number 9184, also known as the Government Procurement Reform Act. May batas yan eh. More specifically, the transfer of funds appear to have failed to follow the rules. Under a resolution of the Government Procurement and Policy Board, which is now a provision of the implementing rules and regulations of the Government Procurement Act. Second, the NGOs have miserably failed to comply with the requirement that the NGO should have an established track record of service delivery and should be financially stable. It appears that there's no compliance with the rule requiring submission of, quote, audited financial statements for the past 3 years, stamped, received by the BIR, or is duly accredited and authorized institutions for the immediately preceding current year, showing, among others, its total and current assets and liabilities. Kaya, sa tingin ko bilang abogado, pwede ka nga magbigay ng pera sa NGO, pero may kondisyon yan. Una, dapat by public bidding or by negotiated procurement. That is a provision of the Government Procurement Act. Basta tumasok ka ng pera ng gobyerno, it should always be by public bidding or by negotiated procurement. procurement. Wala silang ganun. Pangalawa, dapat may affidavits or other statements na lahat na binigay mo noon sa NGO na yan ay na-liquidate niya, napaliwanag niya. Liquidating a fund means you submit all the receipts, napaliwanag mo where every peso went. Hindi nila ginawa. Basta bigay lang sila ng bigay sa NGO. Pork barrel is a special purpose fund. In my humble opinion, the general provisions of the budget, ang budget kasi makapal, parang phone book. Doon sa likod, meron siyang general provisions. The general provisions of the budget apply both to the special purpose funds and to the regular budgets of line departments, yung cabinet departments. However, we are talking about what is called the general provision on the limitation on transfer of funds to NGOs. It is intended, therefore, to impose limitations, kaya title niya, general provisions on the limitations on transfer of funds to NGOs. So the purpose of the law is to limit it, it's not to facilitate it. Allow me to emphasize this important principle, which in my text distributed to the media, appears in boldface. The funds, whether from PDAF or other sources of appropriations, are always released to an implementing agency. Hindi kang gagastos nun. I-release mo to an implementing agency, which is a department, an agency, or a local government unit, and never to an NGO directly. The choice of the NGO, if you follow the law, is subject to competitive bidding or through negotiated procurement. Hindi mo lang sukat ibigay yan. Magpa-public bidding muna itong mga NGO na ito. The choice of the NGO is the responsibility of the agency head, of the secretary of that department. Sila mamili, hindi ang senador. Not the senator or congressman, even in the case of PDAF or other off-budget funds. Ngayon, paano sila kumikita? Una, hindi na sinusunod ang batas. And I will explain to you, kung gusto mo senador o congressman, at gusto mo i-corrupt, at atakihin ka ng mga tao kamukha ko. Ganito, the lawmaker makes his ill-gotten wealth usually by choosing the supplier of the service contract or the contractor of the supply contract. Siya namimili ng contractor. Wala siyang pakialam. Dapat sabihin na niya, I give 20 or I give 50 million to the Department of Social Welfare for this kind of a project. Milk feeding program. Bahala na si SWD. Dahil wala naman kami pakialam kung paano nila gastusin yan. Sila ngayon ang mananagot. Pero naging ugali ito, and this is completely illegal.